but I'm going to first touch on my New Jersey Devils. I was at the game on Saturday, a bit of a rough one to lose it in overtime there. And, atmosphere was really good. And I think that was a game that was, self-inflicted mistakes there for the Devils. I think that they fought back twice. And whenever you have those kind of games where you have to fight back and you have to really chase the game a little bit, you get behind early, right? You get behind first, and it's one of those where you're always kind of chasing after it. And whenever you got Ovechkin on the other side, it's always a tough thing to deal with, But I thought, offensively they were good, right? They had a strong push. I thought it was their defense and their mistakes on defense that really killed them. The giveaways, I thought they weren't strong to the puck. That one goal, I think it was the deflection or the 2-on-1. But if the Devils had just push the puck out of the zone, I think maybe it would have been, not a goal there. So it's one of those tough things and those tough breaks that they have to really clean up. And I think that's unfortunately a theme that I've been seeing with the Devils here is they have defensive lapses early in the game. And whenever you get down early, and look, this is not like last year or in past years where the goaltending was a little shoddy or whatever. Markstrom has been playing unbelievable. I'm very happy with how Markstrom's been playing. I'm very, very happy with how reliable, how solid he is. I don't think there was any situation in this game that I could point to as something that he should have stopped. If we're being picky, maybe that one deflection goal where he kind of overplayed the shot and it went by him, but that was a deflection. That's a pretty hard shot to stop. That rebound goal, right? There was no one there to clear out the guy in front of the net. He makes the first stop, but I think overall it's, he's been playing solid, but it's been those defensive lapses that puts the Devils in a bit of a tough spot and having to chase the game. And then you notice whenever they play really well, like the Utah game or the Prague games, they play with speed and they're fast, and they also tighten up defensively where they don't have to put Markstrom or Allen in tough spots where they have to make these incredible, odd man rush saves all the time, or every shot's one of those, leaving, like in this game, like the Mangiapane goal. He was all the way down, cherry picking to the blue line, and he gets behind the defenseman, and then he gets a breakaway. Stuff like that. You just can't let that happen. Can't let a team, especially like the team like the Capitals, get behind you, But I do think so. A couple of the highlights I want to talk about is offensively. I thought, Nico, Dawson, and Dougie, pretty good games by them. I think so. Hischier, you talk about a captain being a captain, and you talk about him just basically willing his team to get back in the game 10 seconds apart, right? A goal 10 seconds apart. I think that's the shortest in Devils history. I think Jeff Friesen was up there with, I think it was 27 seconds or something like that. But 10 seconds apart basically it was unbelievable. I was at the game too. Again, it was crazy. Before he could sit down for the first goal, he already gets a second one up there and he snipes that second one in there. So that was a really sweet goal. And it's hard, right? You get a play like that from your captain, and you would think it would rally the rest of the team and, get them to wake up a little bit here and to, be able to get some momentum. I think a lot of times, the Devils, this game had the chance and had the opportunity to, I'm not going to say put the game away, but they had the opportunity to be the dominant team in this game. I think for a big part of it, Capitals were dominating, and then they started to get rolling, and then when they got the momentum and tied it up the first time, they had momentum, and then they kind of got killed a little bit when Capitals got their 2 goals, but then they were still in it, and you still felt like they could fight back, and then eventually did, which was great. Bringing it to overtime, and I just thought that overtime, the puck possession was a big thing, right? Capitals winning the face-off and controlling the play for a lot of it, but the Devils got their chances, right? Timo Meier had that brilliant chance and he couldn't bury it. Good stop, but I think it's those kind of momentum swings and the Devils having to do a better job of withstanding pressure. I don't think they've done as good of a job as withstanding a lot of pressure. I think the way teams play the Devils right now, where they find success, is when they just press, and they press up on them, right? Like, so even if the Devils are in their own defensive zone, they're breaking out, which breakout right now is terrible. I don't know what's going on with their breakout. I don't know what the problem seems to be. If the players themselves know what how to go about doing it or whatever, but it's been a struggle, but I definitely trust Sheldon Keefe and the coaching staff. I mean, I think they'll get it together. I don't think it's a terrible thing, but it's just not in a good spot right now, and I think the players admit it too. But the other team, when they press the Devils in that way, they get turnovers, and those are the type of plays and the type of things that you have to clean up, and just getting it out of your own zone is going to relieve some pressure and cause less fatigue and lead to more chances the other way, right? I think a lot of times when you spend so much time in your own zone withstanding the pressure and trying to get it out and clear it out, and it doesn't, and then you have a lot longer shifts and things like that, and then by the time you get it out of the zone and get a bit of a rush, everyone seems to be so gassed, or they can't generate anything for a good enough period of time. It's like they'll get in the zone and they'll get maybe one shot off, or they'll do some stick handling, shoot it, goes wide or gets blocked or something, and then it's back the other way. So I think those kind of things have to be cleaned up and fixed. But I thought overall just on the offensive side, I thought they did a pretty good job. Mercer, I thought Mercer has been having a pretty rough couple of games lately, just in terms of you look back to that Maple Leafs game, didn't really play that well, had a couple tough shifts there, which led to goals, and then struggling to find the back of the net, but finally gets one here. And I think we need Mercer to be on his game, or at least above it more than not, and he's definitely an important part of this team. And you got guys like Cotter and a bunch of the younger guys, or the newer guys, and they're going to make a name for themselves, and I think Mercer, he's probably going to feel some pressure by some of the other guys there and on the team to play better and stay in the top six or whatever. But I think he'll get it together, and he's definitely one of our workhorses, as he has been over the past couple of years, and just it's the beginning of the season, so I'm sure he'll get off to a better start as games go on. And finally, we see from Dougie Hamilton, right? We see he finally gets a goal, and I like personally when watching this game, he was shooting the puck more, right? You could tell that he really wanted to get get a goal, or at least some really significant chances from his shot from the point. And I think that's something that we definitely missed last year, right, when he was out for a good amount of time. And having that point shot is such a good weapon to have when you have someone as good as he is, when he's on his game really well. It's like you want to, that's such an important part of being able to generate chances, is like getting a strong shot off the point. And when you get that shot off the point, and hopefully it's a goal right away, but it could lead to deflection tip, but then rebounds and things like that. A lot of teams will just try to clog the sides or the center area, the slot area. And when you got a guy like him who's a pretty good skater, he's more offensively minded on D compared to the other guys we've got. And so we need him to be able to get pucks on net and things like that. So being able to weave in a little bit and weave out and put himself in good position for that, slap shot that he's got is a big thing, right? And I think that's what, we need him to, Devils need him to do, right? So I think the Devils power play looked pretty good. I thought Timo Meier definitely looked better, and he's been playing well. I think that chance in overtime is a bit of a bummer, but he definitely has played well. And now I think, look now on the defensive side of things, like I just talked about, but, I think there's a couple big moments for me on the defensive side where, I think 3 of the goals that they gave up were due to bad transitions, right? I think, you look at that Dylan Strome and Tom Wilson, and those situations, those goals, they took advantage of those defensive lapses, right? I think, and then you look at Tom Wilson at the overtime winner, where I think it's just I don't know if miscommunication, but just a misjudge during a line change and things like that. But a lot of what the Caps were able to do that the Devils have to clean up what they have to clean up and fix for next game against the Lightning, I think it is, or whoever they have coming up, but moving forward is, in the neutral zone, they just have to be able to transition properly and prevent, odd man rushes and just really high danger scoring chances in that neutral zone area. And I think the failed clears in this game was just really frustrating because it wasn't like they were like out of position in their own defensive end or they were clueless. It was just more of like really, again, I'll say this a bunch, but just cleaning up those little things, like getting the puck completely out of the zone or even past the blue line or winning the 50-50 battles. Like those are like, it sounds so hockey cliche, but it is true that those little things lead to eventual big chances or eventual scoring chances that like you have to be able to at least, get half the time, right? And it can't just always just be playing, doing damage control when you lose a battle on the boards and now, the other team has possession and they're kind of weaving in and out of the zone or in within the zone and you're having to, defend all the time and withstand the pressure. Again, it goes back to that, like this team is just getting sometimes overwhelmed when the other team is just pressuring them a bunch and then they're capitalizing on the 50-50 battles and the puck play and the board play and being tougher on bodies in front of the net and little, stick checks and things like it's just a lot of those things that like you make one play here and there and the puck is out of the zone, right? You body one guy here and there and he's not in front of the net for a rebound goal, so it's a lot of those, hockey cliches, but it definitely makes a difference when you kind of look at just what happens and all of the goals that they let up. And, I think, but for me, the takeaway, I think, for this game is that offensively, I like the battle. It was a good game. I mean, unless you were a Devils fan, it sucks they lost. But I think just from a hockey game standpoint, it was a good game. It's a high scoring game. I mean, it was, back and forth, and each team had really their chances. And I think if this game were to go another 10 minutes, it probably would be tied again. Maybe the Devils would have won, But I think the way that they were able to battle back to me is encouraging. I think last year this wouldn't have been the case. Hischier played incredible. Jack, I think he's not always showing up on the score sheet in terms of goals and things like that. And I know that's like the flashy thing, but what I do really like from him in these past couple games is the fact that, he is generating chances like he always does. His ability to just like sustain pressure in the offensive zone by his skating ability and his just like hockey IQ and the way that he passes the puck around, or he like generates a play by like him skating around and other, his other players skate, around him or towards where he's trying to get to, but he just generates chances with his ability. He's in that group of guys in the league that can generate chances when when he has possession of the puck, and his hockey IQ is so good that he makes the people around him better. But I do think that he will start scoring like he has and think he's expected to. But I think there's a lot of underrated things that he does that may not show up on the stat sheet, but is just as important. And I think goaltending wise, again, I don't really have a whole lot to say other than I'm really happy with Markstrom, and Allen has been playing really well too. But I just think Markstrom, he's our starter and he's incredible. I like the poise that he has. His glove hand was great this game. It just, the goals that went in, I can't really fault him for that for the most part, so he's been playing really well. And lastly, the concern that I do have is just defensively, not necessarily in any individual, right? It's not like, because like last year, not the biggest fan of a couple players or whatever, but like this year, it's less about, this guy and this person keeps doing that mistake and get him off I don't think there's any one player that I'm thinking, oh man, he shouldn't be playing. To me, it's just as a collective, like even the forwards collectively, the way they play in the defensive zone and the way the whole team has been playing defensively and trying to get the puck out of the zone and like close the gaps and watch out for people in the slot area, things like that. Those are the things that I feel like are have to be fixed and have to be improved upon. But overall, again, it's like it's tough. Caps are a tough team, and I think it's early in the season, a lot of room for improvement. And I felt like while it was a good game, I do think that hopefully the mistakes that they've shown this game and the games that they lost, similar mistakes. I just hope that it doesn't become a trend and it's not something that it becomes how they play, because, if little by little, if these things don't get cleaned up, it becomes a big, devils will get exposed with those things, with these, those mistakes and not playing the way they should in their own zone. So, they have a big couple games coming up next, but overall, they got the point, which is good. I don't think they necessarily deserve the point, thanks due to Hischier, but they really snuck out this game with a point, and hopefully they come out better, and in the next game they get a bit more control of the game and can dominate more of the game as opposed to this one. But let me know what you guys think, guys. If you're Devil fans out there, what do you guys think of the game? What do you guys think of how the Devils have been playing so far? What things would you change? What things do you like? Let me know in the comments, and appreciate you guys checking this one out.